हरि ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः द्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणमस्मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ केनेषितं पतति प्रेक्षितं मनः केन प्राणप्रथमप्रैतियुक्तः केनेषितं वाचमिमां वदन्ति चक्षुश्रोत्रं कहुदेवो युनक्ति। So come on. So in the last class we heard the preamble for the Upanishad. What is the background and how the disciple, having not got the answer for his own self-enquiry, he approaches the Guru in the traditional format with all the methodology which is prescribed in the Vedas, Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, with the Samit and the Samit in the hand, Samitpani, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, one who is not only in the Shastra Vijna and Brahmanishta, he is established in Brahma. And he starts the question with, the question is, Kena ishitam patati prekshitam manaha. Kena means Kena, by whom. Ishitam, even though the word is, this is a Vedic usage, ishitam, the normal usage is ishtam. So Kena ishitam patati gachati, preshitam manaha, preshitam, ke ishitam, these are the two words from the same verb, ish dhatu. Ish root means here one is for willed by or desired by, while preshitam is directed by, prakarshena ishitam, preshitam. Manaha, the mind, patati, jumps or goes toward the objects. Kena, again the second question is, by whom yuktaha is engaged. Pratama prana praiti yuktaha. Pratama prana, the life force, that first prana, which is the which is further is get divided into pancha prana. So that prana, how is it is getting united with the body? Kena ishitam vadati imam vacham, by willed by whom or desired by whom are these words being uttered by us? Imam vacham vadanti. And kahu deva, which deva? Kahu, u, that word u is a nipada, which is for to stress on the which, indeed which deva is the one which unakti is unites the different aspects of the body. The body is made of multiple things, like the eyes, ears, touch, smell, nose, and even the karmendriyas or the organs of action, which are for the panipadam, upasta, ityadi. So all those actions of organs, of sense organs and organs of action, and the prana and the mind, there seems to be a totality in my experience as an individual. Which is that force which is uniting all those things, even though I know that each one has got separate realm of operation. As far as the sense organs are concerned, there is light is separate, sound is separate, etc., etc. Same way, for what hands can do, the legs cannot do. What legs do, the hands cannot do. Same way, all of them have got special thing. And what the mind does, the prana cannot do, the breath cannot do. What the breath does, the mind cannot do. But when put together, sangadam, when all these things put together, there is a feeling of an individuality, or in me there is a unison and a united feeling. Obviously, these things cannot unite themselves by say, because they are all have got limited areas of operation. Therefore, there must be something or some force. The deva here, deva means Dyotana deva, some enlightening force which is uniting all these different aspects in this body. That is what the literal meaning of the verse is, the being given by that. Then here the Shankaracharya starts his bhashyam in the for the first he is giving the meaning of this verse itself. Kena ishitam means kena karta ishitam. So kena means in means by whom. So here he is adding the word karta, means somebody who is a doer. Kena ishitam. For what? Ishitam means ishtam, desired or willed. Abhipretam sat manaha patati. Abhipretam, when directed by that manaha patati, the mind goes, gacchati ityartha. Svavishayam prati sambadhyate. And not only it goes out, and respective svavishayam, respective vishayam, svavishayam prati iti sambadhyate. And they get united or engage themselves in the respective objects. The visual objects are perceived, and the eyes goes towards the object of visual object and gets united with that. Same way, ishe abhiprekshanaarte gatyartasya iha cha iha asambhavat ichartasya eva etat rupam iti gamyate. Now he is giving an explanation word, the ish dhatu, which is used for ishitam and preshitam. So abhikshanartasya, gatyartasya. So these are the two arthas which is normally used. One is the chaturtha gana, one is navama gana. So that is for the Sanskrit grammar. Both were the abhikshanartha is the fourth gana, and navama gana is gatyartha, and the sixth gana is ishtartha. So he is saying that this construction, since the root ish cannot be taken here to imply either the repetition, which is abhikshanartha, or going gatyartha. It must be understood that in the present form the root is in the sense of desiring. So it is neither the fourth gana nor the ninth gana, or the root into which the roots are classified, but it should be taken as the ishtam iti ishitartham. That is etat rupam. Ishitam iti ishta yogestu chandasa. Normally it should be ishtam, but here that there is an ikara, idagama, ishitam. That is a chandasa prayoga. It's a usage in the Vedas. Tasya eva prapurvasya tasya eva ityukte ishitam. That ish is the dhatu. This root, verbal root itself, when it has a suffix prapurvasya, niyogartham preshitam ityetat. When this root is having the sense pra, then it is getting a meaning of directed to preshitam ityartha. Niyogarte is preshitam ityartha. So this is why he is explaining the peculiar word to word ishitam and preshitam in the first question itself. Kenishitam padati prekshitam mana kena prana pratama praiti yuktaha. Keneshitam vachamimam vadanti chakshutram kahu devo yunati. There you will find both ishitam and preshitam being used in the mantra. So he explained that even though the word root is for, can be taken in three different sense, it is neither repetition nor going outward. So the left out meaning is ishtam, means which is for the desiring part. Now there is a bit of grammar and artha vichara. I mean the meaning of the word by the word, two different words, ishita preshita shabda dvayartha vichara. This is for the purpose why the Upanishad is using a particular word, because the opponents who are listening to this are saying that you are making a meaning out of nothing, but the intent, it doesn't show that way. So to establish his philosophy and his method of understanding the Upanishad, he has to take on the opponents in clarifying the meaning words for ishita and preshita. Tatra preshitam iti eva ukte preshitr प्रेषण विशेष विषय आकांक्षा स्यात् केन प्रेषितृ विशेषणः कीदृशं वा प्रेषणम् इति ईशितम् इति तु विशेषणे सति तदुभयं निवर्तते कस्य इच्छामात्रेण प्रेषितम् इत्यर्थः विशेषण निर्धारणात्. So he is now saying, giving that details why it is not taken as repetition or going outward for the meaning of the word ishitam and preshitam. The form which suffix is used for the word ishtam in the Vedic license, that is the chanda prayogam. Preshitam is a form of same root with the pra is fixed to that, in the sense which we saw it in the earlier. If the word preshitam alone are used without ishitam, this is where importance is there. If only the word ishitam has been repeatedly used in the first line and the second line, then it would have given a different meaning. But to avoid that, the word preshitam with the pra as a suffix is alone was, if the word is used alone, there would arise such an inquiry about the particular kind of a director and that direction, as by what particular director and how is the direction. That would have become the meaning instead of in a desired. So the word desired will not have been used at all. Here the word desired is being used. But such an attribute of ishidam, where both our questions are set rest, because thereby the ascertained the special meaning directed for preshitam through whose will. So will is the prime portion with which the direction of the takes. So in the mantra, if you look at it, kena ishitam patati prekshitam manah. So here if you take this desired by only, then can be only the rightful meaning. But if you take the same meaning preshitam for both the place, kena preshitam patati, kena preshitam manah, there is one is repetition and second thing is that both will become direction, which he says that is not the intended meaning of the Upanishad. Therefore the preshitam is not used in both the cases. So the opponent says, yadi esha artha abhipreda syat kenisham yadi etavat eva siddhatvat preshitam iti na vaktavyam apicha shabdadikyat arthadikyam yuktam iti ichaya karmana vacha va kena preshitam ityartha vishesha avagantum yuktah. What is the objection? If this being the meaning intent, the purpose is served by expressing will alone, so that alone would have been enough. The ishitam word alone would have been enough, and the expression directed need not have been used. Moreover, since there is a reasonable that an additional words would imply an additional meaning, it is proper to understand that some special sense as what is it directed by, willed by, act or speech is a question mark which the option is asking. So what the question is, the objection is that the same verbal root, ish as a desire, when it is used as a pra as a suffix, it becomes a direction towards that. So not only that there is a desire which is inside, there is also a direction in which each sense organs or each organs or actions or the mind or even the prana is continuously working. So for that, the answer is being given by Shankara is that na prashna samarthyad. No, this cannot be, because the trend of the question, the question is, there is a trend in the question. For the reasonable conclusion derived from the trend of the question is that the inquiry is made by a man who has become disgusted with the ephemeral works and its results. As such, the assemblage of the body, senses, etc., and seeks to know something other than this. So what is it? Dehadi sangadat anityat karma karyat viraktah atah anya kootastam nityam vastu bubutsavanah pruchati iti. So what is it says that dekadi sangat, the assemblage of the body with the different sense organs and organs of action and the mana and prana is a vastu, is a object by itself. That is anityad, karma karyad. Therefore it is anitya because it's a object of karma, creation created out of an activity. Therefore atah anyat kootastam nityam, there should be somebody which is different from the assemblage of the body, kootastam nityam, residing in this body as nityam. Nityam here, this is the example which is used where that we are saying that from the childhood we know that there is the sense of I in us, and that is a nitya. It has not undergone any change. That is what is being indicated with ata kudastam nityam vastu bubutsamanah bud avagamane. This, the knowledge, that's a shanas pratyaya asti. Therefore viraktah bubutsamanah, he is the one pruchati, he the one who has now seen that the body is a sangadam. Now there is a rule in the standard mimamsa, the purva vedic version, that sangadam pararthatvat. That means an assemblage is not for the components. The assemblage is for the purpose of somebody other than the individual components of the way. And the example which is given is that, for example, the house, we have bricks, cement, mortar, the roof, the windows, and there are different things in the house. But the house is not for any of the individual components of the house. It is for somebody as to dwell inside. The assemblage is coming together and somebody else dwells in the house. That is the way dehadi sangat, that word sangat, sangatat. So that is the example which here we think is this viraktaha, this one who has detached from the dehadi sangada, which is the assemblage of organs and mind and prana, which is a karma karya of a product of action, and the anitya, because it has gone through changes. Anityam kadam bhavati, how does the anitya is defined? If the ephemeral nature is that, because what body we had in the child is not available in the adult, teenager, adulthood, middle age and old age. So therefore the dehadi sangadam anityam asti, therefore it is ephemeral or ever changing, because it is a karma karyam. And there is a vastu which is kodastam nityam, which is permanent inside, which to know that bubutsamanah pruchati iti samarthyat upapadyate. This is the samarthyam which was dehadi sangadat bhinnaha bhavitum arhati. There should be a person, or there should be an entity, kahu devo yunakti in the mantra. So there should be somebody who is indweller in the assemblage of the body with all those changing things which are being done. Itharata ichha va karmabhihi. Otherwise, ichha va karmabhihi, by the desire, words and actions, dehadi sangatasya prerayitr prasiddham iti prashnah anarthakah eva syat. So, which if it is not so, the question would be merely meaningless, since the directorship of the group of the body over the mind through will, word, etc. act will be a familiar fact. That is that anarthaka, it will also become meaningless. Why? Because if each one has got its own desire, vak has got its own desire, karma has got its own desire, or mana has its own desire, then dehadi sangasasya, the assemblage cannot have a unified prayaridatvam, that one direction in which they are all working. Therefore anarthaka syat. So for that again there is an objection. Evamapi preshita shabdasya artha na pradarsita eva. Even so, the sense of the word directed is not certainly brought out. He is refusing the preshitam word with the pra suffix is not directly indicating any the director out of it. So that word directed is not certainly brought out. Na. Acharya Shankaracharya says no. संशयवतः अयं प्रश्न इति प्रेषितशब्दस्य अर्थविशेषः उपपद्यते. Since the word directed can reasonably convey a special sense, namely, that is the question of the man in doubt. The Shishya, when he asks the question, he is asking with a reasonable doubt in him for a special purpose because of his experience. He has done a self-analysis on himself, that is it the mind which is doing the desire and the direction for the different things, which is the normal thing with which people who are not doing any what you call self-enquiry normally remains at that level. They think it is the mind which is the one which is the prime mover, or the power behind that whole thing, but they don't see the mind as an object. They identify with the mind. Therefore they think that my desire means it is the desire of the mind, but they don't see the I beyond the mind. Therefore their desirefulness of the mind is associated by them, saying that it is my mind, it's a mind, desire is in the mind, and the mind is by itself getting desires, not knowing the mind as by itself is part of the body and doesn't have any power of its own. So the question, both the activities ishitam, willed, and preshitam in the sentence by willed by whom, directed by the mind goes, are justifiable as implying that does the directorship belong to the aggregate of the body and the senses, which is well known fact, or does the directorship through mere will or the mind over the mind, etc., or belong to some independent entity which is different from the aggregate? So this is the condition why the word, the question was, even so the sense of word directed is not certainly brought out. To refute that, the preshitam is being mana preshitam. That is the word we choose. Preshitam manaha iti visheshana dvayam upapadyate. So what is that? There, not only that, there is, how does even the mind get the desire? Does anyone ask that question? We all think that the desires are the mind, and the mind desired, the sense organs are working, the organs of actions are working, the body is working toward the desire of the mind. But we don't even go beyond that. Only a viraktaha, bubuksamana viraktaha, one who has the desire to know that nityam kodastam vastu, So vastu here is not defined as what is the vastu here. That deva, kahu deva yunakti, which is that deva or which is that entity which even makes the mind to desire. Therefore the directorship has to be separate from the sense organs, actions organ, prana and mind. Or apart from that, there should be something which is making this mind or even the prana to work in their own respective area. Mana prabhutinam paratantra pradarshanam. Mana prabhutinam. Manaha means mind, pravridina means the group, others. Paratantra pradarshanam. Paratantra means dependency. Is being now shown up by the question answer session, the prashna pratyuttara. There is a question and answer form. It is being explained in the dependency of the mind, etc., on a director which is beyond the aggregate of the body. The objection is first is nanu swatantra manah swavishaye swayam padati iti prasiddham tatra katam prashna utpadyate iti. This is the what which I told earlier. Is it not well known fact that the mind is free and goes independently to its own object? How can the question arise regard to that matter? See, this is the normal, those who are not doing any self-inquiry or spiritual practices, they take it for granted that mind is an independent, free-willed. This is the question comes from, whether we have a free will or it is desired, predestined, everything. That question and confusion comes because they do not know how the mind functions. And when the mind functions, the mind does it have an independent power? So the objection is raised is here that mind is free and goes independently to its own object. Can the mind do it itself? That is the question. Uchyate. So answer is that yeah, I'm telling here. Yadi swatantram manaha pravritti nivritti vishaye syat. If the mind is independent and engaging and disengaging by itself, tarhi sarvasya anishta chintanam na syat. If that is the case, then nobody should be contemplating on any evil. Why should the mind think about evil things and get desiring evil things and evil towards the negative things? If the mind by itself has got the freedom to engage or to disengage, is the option available with the mind. Mind should be always disengaging itself from the unwanted things and should get engaged only in the wanted things, or which is giving happiness. But mind is engaging in the things which also generates the what you call sorrow and dejection or loss of things, etc. Anartham cha janan sankalpayati. Yet the mind, though the consciousness of wills evil, and though dissuaded, it does engage in the deeds intensely for sorrowful effect of sorrowful result. Abhyagra dukhe cha karyam vadyamanam api pravartata eva manah. So this mind, if has the freedom independently to do what it wants to do, it should be always working towards the happiness and the engage only in the things which gives some happiness. Why should there be sorrow? And the knowing of sorrow and remaining that anushocanam, remaining in the sorrowful moment, knowing very well. Suppose when we have a sorrow, not only that we acknowledge the sorrow, but we also revel or engage in the sorrow for a certain period of time, even though the event for the sorrow or the sadness has happened and it cannot be reversed. The mind should not be keeping on engaging it, and loss of a family member, loss of a child, or loss of wealth, or loss of something like that. the mind still rebels or engages into that Anishochana mode. So if mind is independent and free to do that, it should not be engaging and getting into the unhappiness as a result. Tasmat yuktah eva kenishadam ityadi prashna. Therefore, hence the question, keneshidam padati, willed by whom or decided by whom is these things are happening, is an appropriate only. It is not an out of word question, because we have not really got into the thinking process which is rightly required, that even the mind is being propelled by something. But what is the propelling force? Nobody inquires, thinking that mind is having the freedom to do it, free will to do things. That is the reason why these assumptions are taking place, and based on which the mind is taken as the source for all problems. Kena prana yukta niyukta prerita san preiti gacchati so vyaparam prati. Kena, by whom? Now he is getting to, now that question is valid by the disciple. Therefore, he is now saying that now since we have agreed that the question preshidam and eshidam and the validity of the question is accepted, let us look into the mantra by saying kena ishitam, kena prana yuktaha niyuktaha. Yuktaha means niyuktaha, prerita san praiti gacchati so vyavaram prati. By whom? The prana, the vital force. Now the having said about the mind, the prana, vital force, being yuktaha or engaged, directed, pratiti, goes towards its own activity. Now here we have to take all the 5 pancha prana, the prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana. All the 5 panchas prana have independent areas of operation. Even though you cannot compartmentalize it, they have got roles. When the prana acts as inhaling, it is called prana. When it's exhaling, it is called apana. And maintaining the heat throughout the body is called vyana. Samana is the one which is in the middle portion of the body, which is maintaining the balance of the body and the digestion, etc., all those things. And udanaha is the one which is doing the excretionary activity through the sweat and the excreta, fecus and the urine, etc., even the eye drops. All the excretory force is by the udana. So prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana, all these are the 5 different engagement the prana is engaged in maintaining the body. Pratama, तत्र प्रथम इति प्राणविशेषं स्यात् तत् पूर्वकत्वात् सर्व इन्द्रियप्रवृत्तीनां. That is what I said. I was explaining this before reading that. This should be adjective to the vital force. For activities, all the organs are perceived in it. It is not only that the pancha prana are functioning in the body, they are also the power behind the organs of action and organs of senses. Because if prana is not functioning through that, the words cannot come out, the eyes cannot go, the ears cannot hear, the touch cannot happen, the taste cannot be known, etc. All those things are all, there is a engagement of the prana also for the sense organs. Same way, if the prana doesn't maintain the heat in the body will not function. And when the body is not functioning, our arms, legs, etc., none of them will work. So kena ishitam vacham imam shabda lakshanam vadanti laukika. Kena ishitam, decided by whom? That question, the whom has not yet been answered till now. Still now we are in the question mode of the disciple asking the teacher. who is the desiring one? Vacham imam sabdalakshanam vadanti laukika. It is the sound which becomes the word, vak. So imam vacham, this speech consisting of words which ordinary people vadanti, and that becomes the utterance. And that is the same thing which is heard by the ears also. I can hear my own voice when I am speaking. Not only I hear my own voice, I am also hearing the speech by others also. Same way, tada chakshu sotram cha swe swe vishaye. Similar way, like the eyes and the ears, all and swe swe vishaye, in their respective objects. Kahu deva, which deva, which is that power. Dyotanavan. Deva means is given, the answer is given. The one which is giving the dyotana, or the power or the light or engagement. Yunakti means niyungte prerayati ityartham. So which is here the yunakti? This means it is not yoking. Here it is means the engaging the mind, in engaging the eyes in the visual objects, ears in the sound objects, like all the objects and their respective senses are engaged by some force, and that some force is called the deva, because not only it is engaging, through the engagement I am also knowing the objects. See, in the Vedanta Prakriya, there is a which they accept from the what you call Sankhya system, is that the mind, through the orifice of sense organs, goes outward and occupies the object, engulfs the object, and therefore the object becomes part of the mind. Now, an example what they are saying is that there is a pond or a lake. When you cut a channel there and allow the water to go into a square field, the square shape of the water which takes is the shape of the field. Something similar is what the Sankhya system says. But Vedanta has got a slightly, one of the approach, one of the explanation what they said, there is the Antaryami or the Suprakasha, Atma inside. But that Atma is not inside, it's Sarvavyapi, it's present everywhere. But just like the space is contained in a jar becomes a jar space, or a house space, or a school space, same way this Atma, that Sarvantaryami, it is a Antaryami for everyone, means it is indwelling for everyone. Every creature, any creation, this Atma is there. So there is a apparently limited Atma in the individual. That is what is called Deha Avachinna Chaitanyam, or limited by the body. The Atma is now considered to be the occupier of the body, which is there again in the Gita chapter 13 verse, that Kshetrajnam Chabhimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Now we have the Chaitanya in the body as a Atma Chaitanya. So that is a Avachinna Deha Avachinna Chaitanya. Avachinna means limited. So by limited by the body, there is this source of Atma, conditioned by the, so let us say, instead of limited, let us say conditioned by the body. Then there is a thought process in the mind, which also is same Atma only, but in the form of mind and the thoughts, which is called the vritti in the traditional language. So the thought is considered like the waves which can move from place to place. So vritti is also called vritti-avachinna chaitanya. So deha-avachinna chaitanya, vritti-avachinna chaitanya, that conditioned by the body, conditioned by the thoughts. In the thoughts, this chaitanya from the thoughts goes through the orifice of the eye, and it can travel up to the object which it wants to cognize. But the object is also nothing but the same chaitanya, because sarvagataha, sushma. So atma is there, the chaitanya or satchidananda is there even in the object. So object is also there, shining due to its presence of, it is sat and chit. There is existence and there is awareness or the consciousness, that both are being in the same condition. So object is also conditioned by the name and form of the object. The object by nature is Satchit. It is nature of is same Chaitanya, which is of the one which is perceiving the object. Both are nothing but the same. And when the mind vrittivat, like a water flowing or a ray of light going through the mind as a thought process, when merges with the object outside, the object becomes known to the individual. For example, the example used is, you can say there are 3 droplets of water. All the 3 are nothing but water. But when you connect the drops, the center droplet to the left and another to the right, that center drop, the water droplet flows to the both the objects. One is the subject and one is the object. So, and connected them is the same water drop, but all the 3 nothing but water. Once they become merged together, you cannot segregate which water is what. They become one. So there is called eka adhikaranam, or one substratum. This is what we call it as a substratum, under which when they are merged together, it becomes one thing. Therefore, when this happens, we perceive the object, we cognize the object, or we are aware of the object. What we are aware of the object is now, really speaking, the nature of the object, which is sat and chit, or existence and awareness. But when we do not have the knowledge of the reality, the body is considered to be the individual, which is also nature of Chaitanya, but we think that we are the ego or the individual, and the mind is considered as the one which has the freedom to go wherever it wants and do everything. And when the object is being seen, we don't see the nature of the object as existence and awareness, but we go by the adjectives of it, or the qualities of the object, by name and form of the object. So this delusion between the one is absence of the knowledge of our own knowledge, the absence of knowledge why the mind is able to function, and the knowledge what is the reality of the object. When all the 3 knowledges are absent, we feel we are limited individuals. And this limitation of the individual is the reason why we feel separated from the world, and the world is separate, I am separate. The world is there, even when I am not there, is a delusion coming from that. Because when you know that you are also the existence awareness, which can never have a birth nor have a death. Even the body which is appearing and disappearing is coming from which is a pre-existing things. When it is dying also, it is going back to the pre-existing things from where it came together to become the body. It has never got a birth or death. Same way, the thoughts and the thing is nothing but thought. In reality, if we look at it, it is nothing but consciousness itself. We are aware of our thoughts. When we are aware of our thought, we forget that we are aware of the awareness in the thought, but we think the objects in the thought as the thought. That is where the thought is also being confused as not awareness. And now the same way the object, like we are an object to somebody else, the object also can look at as an object. So the subject object is a misguided identification. That subject, when I am observing it, I am the subject. When the world object is there, that something other is an object. But suppose if it is two people who are looking at each other, who is a subject, who is an object, we cannot really say that. With reference to one, the other becomes an object. So this type of confusion is created due to non-understanding our reality of our own true nature. So this is why we are saying that tada chakshu shotram sha swaswa vishaye kahu deva dyodatavan yunakti niyukte iti. This is how one has to understand. Evam prushtabate योग्याय आहा गुरु शृणु यत् त्वं पृच्छसि मनः आदिकारणजातस्य को देव स्वविषयं प्रति प्रेरयिता कथं वा प्रेरयति इति. To the Vyarti disciple who was asked these questions to the teacher will say, here, what you have asked question is the question, who is that effulgent being, who is the director of the mind and the other organ towards their own objects, and how does he direct? This is the meaning of the actual meaning of the first mantra. That means, which is that kahu devo yunakti, that is the effulgent being, which is the deva in me, in everyone, who is director for mind and other organ, which is controller of the isha. Here the word ishit, the same ish to only ishta, isha also taken from the same one. So one controls the and the organ whereby they are expected to go to their objects. I cannot go to sound, cannot go to the light, and there is a controller is the body, because we have seen that nose is not for individual organs of pararthatvad. Assemblage of is for somebody else. Every component is not for the car, but somebody else for event. Go same way. This assemblage of with eyes, smell, touch, and hand, etc. is assemblage as a body with the mind, the prana as the inner organs. There is a control. Who is that control? The first question. So the answer, the guru starts. So there is only one question. The answer is guru is Srotrasya Srotam Manaso Mano Vacho Vacham Sahu Pranaha Shushachakshu Chadira Prema Lokat Amanti. Srotrasya of the ear. So Mano, the mind. Vacho, word, the word or walk of.
श्रूयते वा?
न श्रूयते वा?
Your voice has been cutting out for the last minute or so.
Okay.
It's not clear. It's cutting out.
Now it's clear?
Now it is clear, but
from where did you miss it?
Yeah, just the last 3-4 sentences maybe.
Did you hear the chanting of the mantra, second mantra?
Yeah, it was already cutting out by then.
Okay.
I sent a text.
So I'll repeat.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. No, I'll repeat it.
Okay.
श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रं मनसो मनो यत् वाचोह वाचं सहु प्राणस्य प्राणः Chakshusha chakshur adimuchya dhira pretyasman lokat amrita bhavanti. So here chakshusha chakshu, shrotrasya shrotram, the ear of the ear, and manaso mano, mind of the mind. Vachoha vacham means speech of the speech. Sahu pranasya prana, in prana of the prana. Chakshusha chakshur adimuchya dhira, one who has atimuchya means having discarded the notion that that they are the organs by itself. Atimuchya dhira pretyasmad lokat, from this pretya means having departed from this asmat lokat, amrita bhavanti, become immortal. Now the word, each one word I like. Yat, because Atman is said to be that yat shrotasya shotram. Yat is not there in the mantra, but it is explained to use it that way. Shrotrasya yam, that shrotasya shrotam, the ear of the ear, manasa mana, mind of the mind, vachoha vacham, speech of the speech, pranasya prana, and chakshusha chakshu, eye of the eye, dhiraha, dhimantaha, the wise person, atimuchya means having discarded the notion that the organs are for itself. Pretyasmad lokat, having departed from this world, amrita bhavanti, they become immortal. Now here is the importance of it. Each of these pairs, like shrotasya shrotam, manasaha manaha, vachaha vacham, pranasya pranaha, chakshusha chakshu, all of them are indicating that each one of them have got a respective director behind, who is as what is prompting or directing the mind, the ear to go towards the sense organs of sound, mind towards the mental objects, speech to make the utterance of the words, the prana, the different pranas to function their own, and the eyes to see by themselves. Now श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रं शृणोति anena iti shrotram. What is the shrotram here? Ear is not that one which is located on our head on either side, as per the Shastra. Shrunoti anena iti, that by which we hear the sound, that is what is called the ear, not the organ of the sound. So organ of the sound is the ear, the tympanum, and the cochlea, etc., which we physically in the biologically we can say located on our either side of the head. But that is not the one which is hearing. They are only receiving notes or the point of reception. But the hearing is done by somebody else. Shrunoti anena. There is something which is hearing of what has been given to the whole of the ear, HOLE, whole of the ear, and is converted into a meaningful sound. Shabdasya shravanam prati karanam. Shabdasya shravanam prati. So the sound is a wave which is from outside, becomes a shravanam, an act of perception of the sound into meaningful shabda abhivanchakam. So that not only that it is making the sound waves appear as it is, but there is a word also. Shabdam here means not only the sound, there is a abhivanchakam, is what is called the, which enlightens the sound for which is the karanam, is the instrument. Shrotram indriyam, there is a sense organ. Tasya shrotram saha yaha tvaya prushtah, that shrotram saha yaha prushtah chakshu shrotram kahu devo yunakti iti. Now he about whom you put the question, who is the effulgent being, who direct the eyes and the ears, or the ear, is the ear of the ear. Now this is the sample only. Shautrasya Shautram, first word only he has explained here, which should be further expanded to other things also. Chakshusha chakshu, manaso mana, vachoha vacham, prana prana, all of them have to be done in the same way. This is the first word only he has given as a padabhashya meaning. Now prativachana anurupatva pradarsanam, prativachanasya. Now this is a question answer session, and how does the equivalent anurupatva pradarsanam, how does this question answer give rise to the knowledge of the indweller or the director, who is the deva, who is from inside, is being given by the prativachanam, means answer. The anurupa means befitting answer, is what is be pradarsanam, is being given by the explanation to the mantra for the next. It's a long explanation which will run into maybe 1 or 2 days even. So we will stop here and we will get into this explanation of question and answer of each of these words. Srotasya shotram, manaso mano, pranaho pranam, chakshusha chakshu, all of them in one by one. So this will be continued not in the next class. We will do it next week. We don't have the class. We will have the class after that. Next week I'm traveling, and I'll intimate you by email when is the next class. Any questions?
No, Mahoday.
The answer must be coming ahead, Mahodaya.
Yes.
Yasya ichha nasti tena katham ishitam iti.
Is there any question? You don't have a desire. If the desirelessness which is being told is of the desirelessness of the mind, not of the director which is controlling the entire sangaram or entire assemblage of the body, right? Now the question can come, you don't have a desire to see, but when you open the eye, do you have a control on what you will see?
Right, I understand that, but that is at this level.
Yeah, the question from the student is from this level. I am opening my eyes, now the question of the student is that I am opening the eyes, I don't have a desire to see, but I have no option but to see.
Right. I mean, by level I meant that the body
Yes.
consciousness, and yeah. So that is the question, but I'm sure it will come later.
Yeah.
Because the mind does not exist. It is an instrument also, and so something at the as the substratum is, it's everything happens in I, the awareness, and the pure awareness has no desire, does not cause anything, does not enjoy anything, doesn't, it just is. So the explanation is that it is the swabhava for I, the awareness. Then that question is still there. How this is happening is so, but we just started. That's why there is a question, but I'm sure it will be answered.
Yeah, once you understand this question and its answers, then it will become easier to know why do we have waking, dream, and deep sleep, in spite of the fact we cannot control them. We have no control on waking, dream, and deep sleep, right? I'm not going into the answering of the question directly as per the Upanishad, but I am taking the meaning and reference to your question. I am now making my own explanation in such a way that I am not explaining the mantra here. But the question of how does the waking happen, how does the dream happen, how does the deep sleep happen, can be explained only if you know what is the deva, or who is the director, who is playing the game of waking and dream and deep sleep. Individually you may say eyes are seeing the vision and everything, but if you look at from a total picture of it, when the Mandukya says devasya svabhavah, it is the nature of the deva. It is the nature of awareness to have the waking, nature of awareness to have dream, nature of awareness to be not apprehending the waking and the dream when it is in its own nature, which is, we call it as sushupti, right?
Yeah, that nature part is not understood.
That nature will understand when you get the intricate nature of how each one of them are being directed. What the act of directorship, when it is understood, it will become the swabhava of the consciousness or awareness. There is no will by that. See, if it is a will or a desire, then what caused the desire? Normally, janadi ichhati yatati. You should know something, then you will have a desire for something, and towards that you will work. This is how the simple process of the three working. And for that, the root cause, what is that? Avidya kama karma. The janati becomes avidya, then kama and karma is prompted by the, see, janati ichhati yatate. Tatra, there also in the janati is knowing, ichhati desire, kama, and yatate karma. So you saw that threesome, and in that case, if the knowledge is not the right knowledge, then only the kama can come, the desire can come. What will you desire? What you are not, only you can desire, no? Therefore, the desire is a product of the ignorance of not knowing a reality of things. When you know that there is no difference between the three water droplets, is there any desire, or it is the nature of the water droplets to go from one to another?
Yes, but why? Yeah, that not able to reconcile that nature and the pure awareness.
In pure awareness, when things are happening, we feel that these are all separate from awareness. It is just like in the space, anything which in everything is appearing has to have space as one of the ingredients or the nature with which it can exist. First of all, you can even imagine an object without space at any point of time.
So is it like this? When no ichha means, is it when the nature is not desired, the experience is not desired?
No. That you should not confuse between the desire of desire towards an object and the desire which is being told as a swabhava. There the word desire is used as ishitam, means not as ishtam. And that's, in the case of like objective desires. There is an nature of engagement. When the nature of engagement is natural, can you call it as a desire? For example, let us take this way. You are breathing. You don't have a desire to breathe, you may say. It is happening naturally. But there is a desire to breathe only when your mouth and nose is blocked. If somebody closes it purposefully, there will be a desire that I need fresh air. Right?
Yes.
Only then you remember, yet there is some a desire based on which I am even breathing. Till then you don't feel that there is a desire.
You are not even aware that you are breathing.
Right. That type of a desire for an object, when present, we may call it as a desire because we know the object separate and I am separate, then we call it as a desire. But the very living itself is based on a desire as if for the purpose of expression by awareness. Awareness is neither interested in the nature of the objects of the expression or the intricacies of it. It is by nature. It is a substratum in which, or the space never has a desire for anything to come into itself, because it knows that everything is already in it. So where can there be a desire?
That makes sense, but so as you were saying, pradyagatma, that is the purnatvam of Aida awareness.
Yes.
Is that right? Purnatvam.
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so
completeness, when you have the completeness, can there be anything outside the completeness so that the desire can come? But when that desire is not there also, things will continue to happen when you know that these things are happening by the swabhava or by the nature of awareness. And my foolishness was to see the nature of things happening separate from me is the reason why I started desiring things which are all made of similar stuff with which I am also made.
That is the question. Where is this foolishness coming from?
Only you have to see that what you are made, is it different from what other things are made?
No. So when these three avasthas are happening, so that is the nature. So that is, there is I, the awareness, and the three avasthas that are happening to I, the awareness. Is there no control on that?
No, the moment you bring in I, the individuality, then there is control.
So
the control, in the sense that the I thinks that I am the controller of my waking, but I have no control on my dream. This is the idea which the I is thinking. But it is the same I as a dreamer in the dream who created the entire world of dream and became a dreamer in the dreaming world. It is the same awareness in the waking as the waker, calling myself as I, and the world of objects of the waking is also the creator of the same world.
So okay, let me ask this question. The awareness can choose to be not involved, or choose to be, I can be the witness, or I can become part of this, not part of this. I can choose to participate, I can be the witness, and then again, I, as the awareness, am not aware of any of this. So do you see my question there?
Yeah, I see your question. That question comes from that you are seeing it as I am having a control to have the witness mode or involved mode or being totally uninvolved in any form. In that operational, do you have anything? It is very simple. That options can exist only if things are different from you. Where can that option as witness or involved or uninvolved, unattached, can happen if there is knowing that there is nothing to attach to you other than yourself? Where will be the unattachment or a detachment or witness happen?
But yet I have those states. I can be completely unaware and I can see all this and I can even experience.
Yeah.
So that is the totality?
No. See, you have to shift yourself as you are the director of a film and the actor inside that. The actor's multiple role, you are only the one who is playing multiple roles. Now, will you be having the director ship separate from the individual actors you are projecting as individual roles you are playing? There is only one you. You are the director. You are one. Suppose, let us say there are three actors in the movie. All the three are being played by you only. Will you have a directorship separate from you when you are playing each of the roles?
No.
Okay. Will each of the character feel separate from the other when he is acting, even though the acting will be seen by the others as separate, but the actor who is playing the three roles, will he see the three separate?
No, he does not, but then we are bringing in a seer there who is seeing the three roles.
The three roles, the three roles are being perceived when those who are not understanding it is the same director who is playing all the three roles. We are the ignorant people who are seeing that there is a Ishvara or a Deva, Jagat and Jiva, Brahma. All those things are separate, independent, existing things is being felt by us, because when we do not see that ekatvam anupashyata, that oneness, the one substratum itself is appearing as many. Does the multiple waves make the oceans multiple?
But there is also this, that what is being seen and experienced, there is so much variety, as in a lot of undesirable things are also being seen and experienced in the pure awareness.
From whose point of view?
From the separate point of view, separateness point of view.
Separate point of view is because he is not understanding the things, so he feels undesirable. Undesirability is a produce of your mind.
Yeah, that is the problem over there. There is no mind, there is no separateness, and still like I said, still not being able to reconcile all this into one, which does not experience anything, does not see anything, does not will anything.
Tell me Shobha Bhagini, in the dream when multiple happened, desired and undesired thing happened, the dreamer might have felt desired and undesirable. The one who knows that the dreamer, the indesirable, undesirable, everything in the dream was my own projection. From his point of view, what is the attitude toward that?
No, I understand those avasthas are happening, and yes, I'm not in them, I'm not experiencing anything. So there I can be the witness or choose not to witness. Yes, that is there.
When here you should understand one thing. When it is saying that it is the nature of awareness to be the dream world and the dreamer and the objects of the dream, the waker, the waking world, and the projector of the waking world. In the reality, what happens is that the swabhava of the waking will be the waking, or the nature of waking will be the waking. It will never have the nature of the dream, nor will the dream will have a nature of waking.
True.
Each one is in its own nature, but they are all nothing but, when you look from the point of view of awareness, are they separate from awareness?
No.
If you remove awareness from them, can they stand alone?
No, they cannot. They don't.
Yeah.
Being non-existent, they cannot stand alone. Yes, you reminded me, Mhoday. Thank you very much. So just always be aware that these are three avasthas happening in me
Yeah.
on their own.
That is what
Own.
Gita
Correct?
says, no?
Yeah.
Padmapatrami Vambasa, when it talks about be like the lotus leaf in water, untouched by the projections.
Okay.
Right?
So
Na
that way.
lipyade bahya dukkaihi. It doesn't. He gets tainted by the apparent dukkha, sorrows of the appearances. Were you tainted by the sorrow in the dream? Then why should you be tainted by the sorrow of the waking?
So right. So in that way, like right now, this is the Jagrata Avastha. It's not real.
Yeah.
And but for the sake of now, for this experience, we still have to. That is my question too. That so there is no control really.
Why do you want to control?
No.
Do you want to
It's not
control?
like
Can you
that.
control your
I don't want
dream?
to control. I don't
Can you
want to
control your
control.
dream?
No, that's what. I don't want to control. Yeah,
See,
I will.
the question is that in the waking we feel the separatedness. That is the only problem. And all problems have only one solution. Are you really separate from the awareness, which is appearing as multiplicity? The waker and the waking world, the dreamer and the dream world.
So when we are told to do our prayatna, always, always do your duty. We cannot live in this avastha as knowing that it's not really happening. We have to keep doing our prayatna and all that. So that is what was confusing me. But when we look at it as from the other point,
there also it is very simple, Bhagini. Swabhavastu pravartate atava prakriteranyato bhavo na katanchit bhavishyati. The nature of projection in any state, whether it is waking or dream, the nature of projection of individual items inside that experience will always be the same. You cannot change it.
right. So for example, we are studying this now. So this is all happening on its own.
Yes.
That because everything is supposed to happen on its own. We really don't have any control over it. So
Why do you want to have a control? You are the controller.
No. What I mean is, for the sake of understanding, we just it just feels real, but it's not. And so even though we think we are doing this, we are not.
What is really real, you should understand first. You felt the dream is real when you were a dreamer.
Yes. Yeah, the avasthas, three avasthas are, that part I
So you should understand there is only one reality, and that reality is what you are in essence.
Yeah.
But not as a waker, not as a dreamer, not as a deep sleeper.
Those are just avasthas that come and go.
They are all appearances in awareness or projections of awareness.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Mohdaya. Yes. Dhanyavadah.
Dhanyavadah. Any other questions? I think the US number 416-729-8184 unmuted. I don't know who is that. Want to ask something? No. Okay. If there are no questions, we can stop. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.